Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller. Our guest today is Javier Banos, who is running for the City of Coral Gables City Commission. Welcome again.
Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it for being here one more time.
And the election's right around the corner. That's Jesus standing right over here.
Hi, Jesus. How are you?
Why don't you go ahead and leave it on the counter? Great, thank you.
Yes, election will be next Tuesday on the 13th of April. But if anyone wants to vote early, they can vote at Coral Gables Library on the 10th and the 11th of April next weekend. So the entire weekend, 7 to 7, we'll all be there. We'll be supporting. We'll be supporting the campaign. And
is it one place to vote?
One place to vote on early voting.
Then
on election day, it will be for each precinct, and you'll have that on your ballot,
your
registration.
How many people is it estimated are going to vote this time?
Well, there's about there are 27,000 voters in Coral Gables. Typically, around 8 to 12,000 actually vote. I think what I've sensed, I've walked the entire city since the ballots have been out. There's so many candidates. There are 13 candidates. Okay,
that means ballot. Everybody's getting a visit.
So besides the fact that I think I'm sensing a little bit of voter exhaustion from everyone, okay, no one wants to hear their.
I thought we were done in November, but you guys at Coral Gables, you had to come back,
and then we had to come back 13 strong, right? So. So there's a real sense of a little bit of fatigue with the process, and unfortunately, this will more than likely, at least one of the races will require a runoff. So we get to do it all over again.
But we don't have to look at this again for another 2 more years after this.
For another 2 more years, I mean, you'll have to run off. There'll be a runoff. Will be 2 weeks after the election in April. It'll be on April 27th. Will be the runoff. But yes, what will happen is for 2 years, the Gables doesn't get to vote all over again. Maybe if I am made commissioner, one of my promises to the voters was I'll move the whole thing to November, so you only have to do this once.
My goodness. By the way, City of South Miami, finally, after all these years, moved their February election to November, and the current commissioners who were affected by it, they got an extra 9 months or so out of it. But we are certainly looking to November to be able to vote in the city of South Miami, because we know more people vote, because there's more reasons to go vote.
The sense on the November election is there's a worry on the part of Gables residents that because we have so many students in the University of Miami, that the Gables Commission will essentially be dictated by whoever aligns themselves with the students if everyone votes in November. But I think, most of the people that vote in Coral Gables are residents of Coral Gables that actually live there. Those worries are just misplaced. It will save the city around $300,000.
Okay.
To move the election all the way.
And you're a CPA, so you know that.
Yeah, and then probably if at all possible, think that it's very exhausting to go through the process of going through 2 elections, especially when you have this many candidates. So you can do ranking voting. Will be probably something that like Maine does it. That is something that we can look into for the future. But this is a debate to be had. Yes. It wasn't for
the really good thing that 13 people have filed. That's significant as far as people wanting to be involved and wanting to participate, and they want to care.
Well, some of my opponents have never been involved ever. You just want to be a commissioner. Right. But you look, the sense is, it is wonderful that folks really want to be part of the community, and they have something to offer. And it's not just being part of the board. Now they get to be, at least 3 of them will get to be, and hopefully it'll be one of them, will get to be the next commissioner, and we'll get to make the policy for the next at least 2 years for the city of Coral Gables.
And one of the things that Coral Gables has been known for many, 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 many years is to have strict residential requirements as far as keeping everything updated. It's like a big homeowners association, right?
Yes,
and it's paid off.
And we like it that way. By the way,
absolutely.
That's why at least why I moved there 12 years ago, and why folks continue to live and reside and make the Gables their home. Look, it's not about exclusivity, but it is very much about keeping us the city beautiful, neighborhood, historic place to live. Okay, and I think the large portion of the citizenry is very much committed to that goal and to that style of living. I think that is what you get when you move to Coral Gables. People seek it. I think the average price in the Gables now is somewhere hovering around $800,000 for a home. And that's because, and that high property value is reflective of not just the home you receive, but also the type of community you're going to move into. And my goal, at least for the next 4 years, if I'm elected, or when I'm elected, I guess, it's that that I think want to preserve that quality of life. I want to preserve that lifestyle,
and that's why people
I think
move
what's
there.
Key,
whether it's Coral Gables or South Miami or Pinecrest, or if you don't want any rules or many, sorry, Dade County, if you want to move down to
the free for all,
not the city of Homestead, but in the Homestead Redland area.
Right.
Where code enforcement's not there, they got a lot of things to do. But in the cities where the streets are maintained, where the sidewalks are good, where there's lots of different types of businesses. But let's talk about Miracle Mile. I know the zoning has recently been changed, very controversial change. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen?
What I hope happens, I think there's 3 candidates running in this election. I'm one of them. I'm not going to mention who the other 2 are because I may or may not have to serve with their opponents. But there are 3 candidates who I think are very much committed to limiting some of the abuses that we've seen in the past few years. I think there are some changes that have happened on US 1. There's some changes and some it's just abusive construction that has nothing to do with what I think Coral Gables should look like. Some of the projects are out of scale with the neighborhood, and some modifications that occurred on the mile itself will increase density on the downtown area. And some people see that as a positive thing. Some people see it as bringing more folks to the downtown, and there's some of that. I'm not obtuse that there's a tangential benefit to bringing more density to a downtown. But if the goal of being in the commission is to preserve the quality of life of our residents, then we can do that without creating the type of infrastructure for it. So you got to have the right roads. You got to make sure there's the right enforcement of our traffic laws, and you can't choke the entire western part of the city, especially in the northern end, which, by the way, what the bulk of the voting public is, from with more and more traffic, which you will be increasing by building up the downtown area. Not to mention that the historic aspect of the original downtown will be gone, at least as we know it today.
So Javier, you have 2 little kids, right?
Yes.
So you got one kid pulling you this way and the other one that way. Your wife another direction, or maybe the same. And plus you.
You need to understand something.
Way. Okay.
I may be the head of the family, but my wife is very much the neck.
We know. Okay? We know that. We know
so that. She whatever she wants me to go, I go.
So. But you feel that tug when you're in office, and even when you're on the pension board. Would you serve for how many years?
I've served in pension boards for 15 years altogether.
So
actually, combined 11 years between the South Miami and Coral Gables.
So here you are being tugged around the homeowners, all right, that have lived there a long time, that like the way the things were and are. And then you have the young people say, gee, it would be nice to be able to live downtown and work. And then, of course, you have the big taxpayers, the big real estate developers that are pulling on you. And then you have to deal with the other people that you serve with to find that balance.
Which wonders what am I getting into, right? But look, look. Like everything else, I'm a realistic person. I think to be practical, I'm a numbers human being. My CPA training really drives a lot of what the way I analyze the world and the prism through which I look at the problems. And I think the politics is the arc of compromise. I think there'll be challenges that move forward, but my focus will be preserving what we have today and maintain and tapering down some of these changes. A lot of what you see the commission do is, they're giving us this little benefit over here, and we're getting a little park there, and we're getting a little. So yes, you can go as high as you want to. I think you cannot do that if you're diminishing the value of the adjacent property, if you're diminishing the value or diminishing the quality of life of the folks that are right next to those buildings and in the adjacent property. So there's not a good enough benefit that comes from that. And that is the way I'm going to approach these problems. What is it going to do to the neighborhood? Is it going to keep it a neighborhood, or is it going to create a situation where a few folks are going to benefit, okay, in their pocketbooks, and then the residents that are there, they're going to come in, and then it's going to be the detriment to everybody else. It has to be a balancing act, people maintaining a strong tax base and a strong, and diversifying the future of the Gables. But the value of the Gable is by keeping its history. That is what makes Gables, okay, that the city beautiful. And if we diminish the city beautiful style and the city beautiful values that we have created over the past 95, 96 years that the Gables has been in existence, I think you lose the very value you're trying to preserve.
So one of the things that we each know, if you decided you wanted to improve your house and you painted the walls, well, we know what's next, the carpet, the furniture, and everything. So if you've lived in the Gables for 25 years, you live in a nice house near the Biltmore, and everybody's happy, and the next door neighbor sells, and somebody comes and tears down the house and put up this huge property, your comfortable home now looks like what used to be the average home now looks like the worst. And certainly that's a balance of everybody's own property rights. So that in changing neighborhoods, it's a challenge for everybody. But I did want to go over again about, I think it was 10 or 15 years ago, the city had hired a contractor to expand City Hall.
Correct.
It started where some concrete blocks laid down.
Right. And then the new commission was sent in by the voters, who were outraged by what was being done, and the entire the annex was completely demolished and done away with. And look, some people would tell you
that's serious stuff.
Right?
People, they don't believe it, but it really happened.
It really happened. Look, and that's where you see the sort of the resident, the voter being heard, right? I truly hope that is what we get in this election, that we do get a whole carte blanche change to the mode in which we have been conducting business in City Hall. I think it's too friendly to a mode of thinking that in my sense, and it could be wrong, but in my sense will essentially be a detriment to the city. But going back to what you're saying about larger homes in neighborhoods, etc. Look, I have the one-story home in the corner lot in the Gables on the corner of Casilla Madeira. My neighbor across the street is building a two-story house behind me. The house in front of me is a two-story house, which was built new, and her home is a two-story home. The other house is not. But the houses we're building with us are large, and some of them are not. But they're built consistent with what at least I think the Gables should be. Okay, they're beautifully lined. They have trees on the sides. They have a motif that is consistent with the old Spanish Mediterranean look of the Gables, and they don't overwhelm the space. They have been respectful of what has been put together and what a neighborhood looks like. That doesn't upset me too much. I mean, there's some boxes out there that I don't necessarily care for, but meaning boxy homes. But that type of, if you're trying to maximize the value of what you have in your home, but you continue to preserve what the neighborhood looks like, I think that's okay. What you cannot do is build a 220-foot tower right next to a little house. That you cannot do. And I think if we're going to go ahead and try to make sure that those neighborhoods stay neighborhoods, they don't become just a through traffic street. You cannot continue to allow for that large growth.
Sometimes that line has to be drawn in the sand. And there was an experience out in horse country where I happened to live 15 years ago, where somebody was making application to put in too many homes, and the chairman of the zoning board out there, called the community council, he said, "This is it." He took his fist and pounded on the table. "This is it. No, we're going to preserve this."
Right.
So leaders have to be able to do that,
right,
and to be able to say, "This is it. It's not going to cross the street."
Being a leader means you have to lead, right? And that sometimes means you're going to take. Make uncomfortable decisions that are not always going to be liked. And, my general sense is if you truly follow the residents' goals and the residents' perspective and you have a true sense of the pulse of the people, okay? I'm not there to give him a spoon full of sugar, to make the medicine go down. I'm there to really listen to them and hopefully not talk too much, and get him to, and be a representative of their values and their perspective.
So you've gotten a little bit more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Of course.
And you have to be able to live that. We just saw a show with a boat race boat. He used to race boats, and he would talk about how uncomfortable it was as they're sailing over this, and if it went the wrong way. And after a while, you get, okay, I know this is what's going to happen. You can have 40% of the people that want the other guy or want the project, and you'd be able to have to, draw the line. So if you were going to draw the line today, what might that be so that your supporters are going to know that you're with them? What one thing do you hear all the time that you say, this is where I'm at?
I think Lejeune is where it ends, okay, as far as this high growth. I don't want it to go anywhere west of that. I think University Drive is where this ends, okay? I don't want to see any further growth going south of University Drives. If and by the way, some of the stuff, there's nothing I can do. They have already, built this. And I would like to preserve some of the North Gables charm on the downtown. But the growth, if it's going to happen, it could possibly happen there. But we have to make the Mile Historic District. We have to preserve the things that we have today, and we cannot continue to erode the neighborhoods that are west of Lejeune.
Right, and I haven't heard recently about any areas nearby that wanted to be annexed by the city. Is it by the city of the Coral Gables? Has anything come up recently?
That debate died 2 years ago in 2019 when actually I would say the end of 2019 when the county commission undid the 3 annexations that were gonna come in. I think there's still an appetite in the commission to add at least 2 of those annexed properties that were going to come in, and I think that is a good thing to explore.
Might it be the one where it's Coral Gables, South Miami County, right down here?
Exactly.
High Pines, Ponce area.
High Pines, yeah, because South Miami wanted to annex that area, and then there was a back and forth as to what they're going to do with that. And it's a high tax base area. It's not going to require a significant amount of resources. It's going to be a net positive, dollar for dollar. We're getting a bang for a buck. The folks want it, and we just built. We're about to finish building a fire station right next to that. We may have to increase our firefighters, and that'll be a requirement. We may have to figure out whether or not 1 or 2 police officers may be required to be increased. And but if we are adding that this section is a net positive to the city on a tax base, so I think and the you don't have to really adjust it too much because the neighborhood is already pretty much consistent with what the Gables is supposed to look like.
And certainly almost the antithesis of South Miami. Right? It's just like,
hey.
And for a while, South Miami wanted to try to annex them. It was like, what? Why would they even consider that? Sorry, guys. So
isn't this building in South Miami? How many enemies are you trying to make in that commission?
Oh, gee. Yes, we're still in South Miami so far. All right.
Oh, Michael.
All right. So we have you're fiscally very responsible. You're on the pension board. You're a CPA. You're on the pension board of the city of South Miami for years. And you're a practicing attorney.
I am also.
And you're going to get it down pat one day. Your wife is also an attorney. She runs the firm.
She runs the firm. She runs my life.
Does she go by the same last name?
She loves me because my last name is Banos, which means bathroom in Spanish, and her original last name was Blanco. So when she married me, she became Vanessa White Bathrooms. Oh. So for a fact, she does truly love me.
Congratulations, way to go. So you have an election. I see. It's an exciting time for you.
It is.
We wish you lots of good luck. And if somebody needs to reach you, how can they reach you?
It's 305-519-5581. 305-519-5581. I'm always available to talk to any voter.
Okay. I think that's it. Tommy's going to be going to a baseball game later today.
So, thank you very much, Tommy.
Tommy, how the Fish play? Was it last night or the night before?
They played on Saturday, won 12-7.
12-7, good game. All right, we're out of here again. Javier Banos can be reached all over the internet. You can call him in his office, email him, jump out of the sky. Folks, have a great day. Tommy, thank you.